Hey guys, to explain this module of deconstruction, I want to start by pointing out that the picture you're looking at here is a cow. And if you don't understand, then you don't understand deconstruction yet. So let's start with this picture. This, I think most of us would agree, looks like a cow. So what deconstruction basically means is when you take a realistic image and then you break it down gradually so it is purely abstract. And so this artist, Theo van Doesburg, once upon a time did this before the minimalist movement. So here we're looking at a realistic cow. And if we take the forms of the cow and anything that was organic, we make it now geometric. So there's these hard, rigid lines now, and make everything look kind of flat instead of three-dimensional, then we start to have abstraction. This is an abstract cow. And so then you get down to this, where all those different shapes that once made up the cow are now just kind of disparate, and they're not really relative to one another. But if you look really hard, you can kind of find where some shapes originally started as like the head and the nose, the big body of the cow, but to the average viewer, this is just a collection of shapes. Let's see here. Okay, so Theo van Doesburg and his cow there, you can kind of see how he deconstructed the form of the cow to get to that non-objective composition there at the end. And he wasn't the only artist that did this too. Piet Mondrian, one of the founders of the Stijl movement, also practiced pure abstract art, and he did the same thing with trees, where they started realistic and then he eventually broke them down more and more, so you couldn't tell what they were. They became non-objective. So we're going to basically do the same thing, but in one composition, and you're going to deconstruct the face of an animal. So the first thing you'll have to do is download, on the step 1 slide, download the grid that's at the bottom there. It'll be kind of similar to module 9, where you will put a grid on top of a photo. And so I take you through this video how to arrange all of that using your Chromebook. And then we don't need to watch that. Sorry, too many things popping up here. Okay, so then the next slide will walk you through how to then get the composition that's on Canva onto your paper. And there's a couple different options there. There's a freehand option if you don't want to trace on your Chromebook, but if you do want to trace, there's an option to do that as well. Then you're going to start with that center panel, and you're going to use your pencil to draw a realistic animal. And you're only going to do the very center panel because we're going to reserve the left and the right panels, the right thirds of your page, for the abstract and non-objective parts. So once you finish that part, you'll use your colored pencils to do the abstraction of your animal. And, oops, I didn't want that. There we go. Oops. Okay, here we go. So yeah, abstract your animal. This is just a helpful slide so that way you can think of several different ways you can abstract things. There's not just one way to abstract an animal. The second to last thing that you will do is this last panel on the right, which will not look like your animal. It should be non-objective, kind of like that first cow picture that I showed you. We're going to do that with watercolor, and you have the option to also use a Sharpie if you wish. Oh, okay. And then the last slide shows you how to submit your assignment, and it also encourages you to go back and touch up your work after you have finished the third part. So you're going to notice that this video, all 6 of these slides, are actually from one video. So if you're watching on YouTube, it's just one video, and there are different starting points for each of these steps. but if you were going through the slides presentation, it just starts you on the video where you are doing that step. So I want to explain that part. That is all. Okay. So as always, if you have any questions, make sure that you email Ms. Braun or myself. I hope you have some fun doing this. It'll be interesting to see which part of this you respond to the most. Not everybody loves every part of this. Some people are more abstract and not objective people. Some people prefer to do things that are realistic. So it'll be interesting for us to learn about you, which of these areas you prefer. So I can't wait to see what animals you choose. Make sure that you're following the directions. Can't wait to see what you make. Thanks, guys.